Let's go ahead and start our server. And with our server started, we'll open up our text editor. Now I've already opened up my text editor to search HTML ERB, and you'll want to find that folder in your simple search app folder under views records. And this is where we're going to create our simple search form. So first thing, we'll just add a quick header to our page, and then we'll start typing in our form. And remember, you need the equal sign because every element of your form is going to be output to the screen. So you always, when you're building a form, always want to make sure to have that equal in there. So we're using what's called a form helper, and form helpers in Rails are really nice. They simplify the syntax of typing in a form. So for example, we could just type form tag, and that's what's going to output our form. And it'll include the beginning and the end tags for our form, and everything up until the point where we hit the end will be included as part of our form. And the first property that we're going to pass to the form would normally be our action in the form. We're just going to pass in the location where we want it to go. And then the next will be our method. And since we're building a search form, we're going to use the get method because we want our search represented on the URL so that our user can save a link to their search. Okay, so that's a form tag. And all of these elements contain the suffix tag after. Other than that, the names are very similar to what you would expect if you were building a normal web form. So for example, we're going to do label, and we add the suffix tag to it. And then with the tag, we pass it two parameters, and the first parameter is the variable that's associated with the element that we're going to be created. So we're going to use Q. So our URL will say Q equals, and then whatever value gets passed through. And then we're going to pass the label itself. So we'll say search the top 100, and that label will be associated with whatever form element has the ID of Q. Okay, now we'll do another one, and we'll actually create our form element. And this time we're going to create a text field. And this is our standard text field where we would put short pieces of information like a name or address or something along those lines. And we do text field tag, and we're going to pass in only one parameter to this one, and that's going to be the ID for our field. And now we're going to do one last form element on our very simple form, and this one's going to be our submit button. And that is submit, you guessed it, underscore tag, and that's going to have one parameter, and that parameter is just going to be the information that's on our button. Okay, now we're at the end of our form, so we will use the keyword end. And that completes our form. And it's really that simple to create forms in Ruby. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our form in action. We've created all of the code that's necessary to support this form. So I'm going to just bring up our records index page, which is provided in the zip file that you downloaded. And there's a link on the bottom. We start with our top 10, and we have a link to search our top 100. And you can see we have a simple search, simple text area, and that's what we typed into our code right here with our text field. And we also have our label tag, which says search the top 100, and there it is, and our search button that says search. So now I'm just going to do a simple search for Led Zeppelin, and that's going to redirect us to our show page where it will construct a table of results and show us that Q equals Led Zeppelin is right there on our URL because we did a get, and that's how our query worked. Then we can look here really quickly into our show, and show takes an array of the results, and with each element in the array of our results, it outputs the information from our table. Now to make this work, we had to do two very simple things inside of our controller, and I'll show you those really quickly. The first is we added this before action, and that set results only for show. And that means whenever the show page is loaded, there's going to be, it's going to call the method set results. So since show is being loaded with the parameters from the get, those parameters are right here, and params will go ahead and get those from the URL and save them as params q, because q is the name of our parameter. And this is going to do a query using where the artist is like params q, and it'll store that in results. Now results is then available over here to our show page right here, and we will loop through those or iterate through those results in order to get a presentation of our data. And it's a very simple form with a little bit of the code that supports it. I hope you learned a lot, and feel free to go ahead and modify this code and play with it and see what you can make it do. And we look forward to seeing you next time.